ad. It's
All views expressed by the hosts and guests in this podcast are solely their opinions and do not reflect the opinions of their respective employers. Guests and hosts may maintain positions in the assets discussed in this podcast. This podcast is for informational purposes only, and nothing in the podcast is intended to be financial, legal, or even life advice.
All right. In today's episode,
we got Rushi to talk about one meme coin, 3 projects, 6 protocols to look at. But we put it in the end of the show. We started with 5 rapid questions that got him off guard, alongside with his founder journey. I think they are one of the few tokens that did a massive airdrop and got VC funding, yet it didn't dump and pump back up. And there's a reason for it. Stay tuned for the episode, bro.
I think it's a very interesting episode because Rushi explained his thought process of like why he decided to go all in movement when it wasn't cool. I think for a lot of aspiring founders right there, even if you're not, I guess like not aspiring, even if you're like an early stage founders that have raised some money but maybe struggling to gain traction, hearing his thought process, like why he did what he did, and all of the reasonings behind it, I think there's a lot of nugget there. So stay tuned. GM. Or should I say G Move. Welcome, Rushi from Movement to one of the, you are the first guest appearance episode in 2025 of More Than Speculation podcast. So appreciate your time for doing this. As usual, I don't think there needs to be any fancy introduction. We will get to there in a bit, but let's start with rapid fire, man.
All right. First question. Community, tech, or token price?
I think community over everything. I think community. The number for community, I think, is users and like the people who actually give a shit about your product. And sometimes community before like token, community use the product are pretty happy. So community should always come first.
What is your bold prediction for 2025?
Alt VMs become the most used layer 2s besides base.
Okay. What is the first type of consumer product that will likely make it? Like, feel free to name a few, or just a type of consumer product. Doesn't have to be on Move. Can be anywhere. Like,
well, would you argue that Polymarket has made it?
I would say so. But anything more than that, or just Polymarket? Okay.
Yeah. I don't think I'll give it another one. I think, like a Pinterest on chain would be like
a Pinterest
the next
on
major
chain
thing that I'm looking for. There's a lot of intersection like e-commerce and stablecoin usage that I don't think has been tapped into yet.
Nice. 5 things that makes a good chain.
First, community I could touch on. Like, you want a loyal user base that will be there thick and thin. Second, ecosystem. You want apps that people use and care about. Third, I would say user experience, where it's like it doesn't feel like you're using Ethereum. Fourth is probably dev experience, which is like how quickly and easy is it for new developers to come to ecosystem. And 5, it's like I think founder is like you want like founders that are likable, not boring, like tweet G-Move. You know?
You know how he didn't think? Like every single question he had to pause and think and buy some time with the water bottle and everything. But like, no, this one he just straight up did it. Okay, where are you allocating your money personally right now?
I'm all in on AI. I'm all in on AI meme coins right now. I actually full ported my entire portfolio last night into entirely AI memes.
Okay, cool. I have to ask, a few ones, a sector, or just 1 or 2 ones?
I mean,
anything that you're comfortable.
Phantom. But I probably can't shill bags, but like I'm like doing like this swarm coins right now.
Swarm
actually,
coins.
one of my friends showed me ARC a while back. I aped that. I'm holding Zero Bro, which is pretty consensus. And then I think SNI is another one that I've been doing. But do not ape those. I'm going to lose money on all these things.
Wow, I just realized most like your investing profile is very similar to the guys in my group chat. I literally hear like nice. All right, Marco,
Yeah.
let's go.
Dude, it's a smaller world out there. No, but I think let's take a step back a bit. I guess for our listeners who are uninitiated, what is Movement Labs and what's your story, man?
Yeah, so I'll start with my story. I'm Rushi, one of the co-founders of Movement. Background engineering, distributed systems. I've always been interested in like kind of how do you build secure infrastructure. I started my career at United Health Group, youngest engineer there. Background database systems. Early got into Cosmos with the like Sunny from Osmosis, and was really interested in that space and Rust-based programming. And then around like 3 years ago, there was this article in the New York Times that said Facebook was building a programming language, like the whole DM project, the Libra project. And for me, this is really exciting because here was opportunity for like literally billions of users on Facebook to use stablecoins and use crypto across borders. Unfortunately, regulation in the States wasn't what it was today. It got shut down. And Apple and Sui spun out. And November 2022, I built the first DEX on Aptos. My co-founder built the first yield aggregator. We were two early just builders, like random, like college kids, like poor app builders. And I think we recognized back then that Move was really cool. It was very safe, secure, great UX, DevX. But like the community and ecosystem was lacking. Like, even today, people still don't really know what apps there are on Aptos and Sui. But obviously, tokens doing pretty well. So it kind of comes back to your original question, where it's like, does token price community ecosystem matter? And I think like ultimately community matters because it doesn't matter if like no one knows what apps you have in the network. If your community is loyal, happy, and makes sense, they'll love you no matter what. But I recognized that there was a gap in the community ecosystem part. So we started building the thesis behind Movement, which is like, how do we bring Move to like loyal EVM folks? How do you make them like start liking it? And this is around the time when the modularity narrative was kicking up, like Celestia was pre-mainnet, and people were like, okay, alt DA makes sense. What about alt VMs? And yeah, we started building space and have now come a long way. And thanks to Marco and the Primitive folks and a few other folks for being here.
Nice.
Wow. I mean,
So like, all right.
Well, I think Move. Like, I get one line. Move it specifically is a Ethereum scaling solution that uses the Move VM. Some people call it a sidechain. Some people call it L2. I don't really care. We use Ethereum for cold data, or we use Ethereum to post like state roots, and it scales Ethereum by providing high throughput scaling solution.
I'm in the camp of like whichever ecosystem is good will just be what matters for the chain. Like if you look at Hyperliquid,
Yeah.
like 100%. I think you're a little bit too modest. I remember seeing some of the early stage decks and everything. No, the early stage deck of your projects and everything. Like it was like literally top. Like it's my first time seeing like the whole journey and everything. Like because it was early stage for me investing as well back in the days. But yeah, so. What is the hardest part in the journey so far? Because I feel like you didn't cover the hustle, the grind part, which I know is a big part of your whole journey.
Well, yeah, I think when we started off, we touched on the original deck. We were like two idiot kids in college. Like, and this was like post FTX, so like, everyone thought crypto was a scam. So like raising the first like 3 million was like the most difficult thing we've done probably. Where like 100 no's probably before first yes, like not even corny, like literally 100 no's, I'd say. And I think like, I mean, it made sense, right? We started off as like Avalanche Subnet because that's where our ties were from. Luigi and the AVAX team was really helpful, and they were early investors in us. But Avalanche then didn't really make much sense from an investment point of view. But B, no one really thought Move was going to make it. Everyone thought like, oh, Epicent Sui, two VC chains, they were going to die, two dead coins. Those investors feel bad now because the Sui has kind of killed them. But everyone thought Move was kind of a joke. So not only did our narrative not make sense, us as founder backgrounds weren't really attractive. So I would say like it was very difficult to raise the first 3 million. Like obviously some of the hardest times we've had, but I think ultimately that's what defines founder journeys because everyone sort of has that like initial phase where still figuring it out, don't really know what direction. And I would say the first 8 months was difficult. But I think like after each CC, I would say 2023, we met Tech in DAO5, who became the seed lead investor. Introduced Dovey. Dovey also came in around the time and promoted a team. And from there, I think we had a good support system where we had a few investors that still were believing in something that was like very, very early stage. But I think for me as a founder, I got a lot more credibility. People understood me. And from there, we figured it out.
I want to quickly add something before you go on, Ambro. Like, Rushi, what was like the switch, or like what was the decision that made you go all in move? Because I think that was like a pretty unique angle back then, unlike most people. Yeah.
Well, I think like I was observing the state of infrastructure, and I was like, there's so much EVM. Like, this is back then when everyone thought the ZK EVMs were the end game. People were like, ZK saying Starkware, Polygon. Like, this is the final.
Start, Nick, bro.
This is the future of friends. This is the future of friends.
Photo bags. But yeah.
No, I mean, like, I some of the best research out there. Like, we have Starknet also is actually a lot different. They're actually all
Scroll.
They have parallel execution. So I won't comment on that relationship. But like, this is back when everyone thought like those EVM end games were a thing. And then I was like, guys, have you used like, I think because a lot of these VCs said, oh, like EVM's end game, and I asked them like, have you guys used Scroll? Have you guys used ZK Sync? This is horrible. Like, this is like Solana is like kicking your ass, because Solana still, even like what was it, $8 post FTX, still had 100x user experience. Dev experience probably wasn't there. Yep. I think now DevX is on par, but like, it was so much better. I'm like, okay, if we really believe that any kind of crypto app is going to be built, it's not going to be built on Scroll. Like, you literally cannot use this thing. So I think that made me say, okay, I'm actually using this. I built a DEX. I actually used the chain, and I was like, okay, this DevX is horrible. And secondly, I think I was like, from a numbers point of view, you had both Aptos and Sui that raised $300 million. The tokens were at probably $3 billion. Like, Aptos was $3 billion this time, and Sui was in launch. And even from like an investment point of view, it makes sense. Like, okay, there's like $300 million each in venture capital, so like $600 million into venture capital to this thing. Libra put $1 billion in research. There's too much capital in this thing for it to fail. And like, obviously we see today, and like all those investors are up billions now. And that was kind of the thesis.
Nice. You know what the funny thing is? Like, that's literally how I lost, how I didn't get into Hyperliquid in time, because I was in a camp that I've been fooled by user experience so many times that I think user experience doesn't pump the token. So I missed the early stage of Solana, and I missed Hyperliquid with not farming it enough in general. But yeah, I
hope you learn your lesson. I hope you learn your lesson.
You know, you see, every time I say that, then I start aping something that's very good user experience, but it's too good that they forgot about the token. But yeah, it's a mix of both. But yeah. Okay.
No, but I think that was like a very good summary though, of just like how, like, it gives a glimpse into how you think, even like when you were in your early days, how you structure, like, you know, like, why should I pursue this? What's the opportunity? And I think not a lot of people kind of pause and think about that. Anyway, that's just one of my small comments. So I'll pass it to you.
You just want to shill your bag again. But yeah, I agree, because a lot of founders just want to change. A lot of change just chase the closest narrative, right? And what everyone is doing, then they just follow up, kind of thing. Okay, so now that we're on this topic, what are the other things that you think some other chains are doing well?
Doing well. I think in terms of some move chains, I think Sui is the best tech stack in crypto today. Like, if you actually look at the blockchain, even like Aptos as well is doing pretty well with this. The consensus, very, very like novel. I think Mississippi is probably the best consensus. Move obviously is phenomenal. Like, technologically, these blockchains are light years ahead of any L2, and I would say even ahead of Solana. And then in terms of like pre-launch, obviously, me and Smokey very close. I think Bear has done a phenomenal job with the community. Like, they have a really interesting system with their NFT holders, which have already made money. Because ultimately, I think all these chain launches is about making your users money. If you don't make your users money, they'll move on to the next chain. So a lot of the Bear users have already made like six figures off the Bear NFTs. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out with the Bear launch. But I think so far they've done a good job of like building a loyal group of supporters. And we even see this with the movement, right? Like we made with our airdrop a lot of people money. People were like, oh wow, this is like something I want to be part of because now I just got like life changing wealth. I think what's interesting with like moving versus Bear, like Bear's like user base is like crypto natives. I'd say like it's like people who hold NFTs, trade NFTs. They probably have a mid six figures portfolio. For our airdrop, it was like a lot of people that never touched crypto before. A lot of like the airdrop farmers that like we saw like a lot of distribution went to like Nigeria, went to like Vietnam, Indonesia. Like obviously those are where the farmers are, but it actually is like for me it was better to see the capital go to people who like can't afford rent, or like I've seen like videos of like people saying it's like changed my life and now I can pay back debt, right? Like that makes life a lot easier for me in terms of motivation. But yeah, I think Bear has done a good job with like wealth creation at that point, because like even like Solana, right? You look at why was Solana successful. If you bought Solana in 2021 when it was $8 or even below that, now you're a pretty loyal Solana supporter. And I would say the last thing, I'd really give shout out to Arbitrum. I think Arbitrum has been the face of like product first, because Arbitrum, from a product point of view, has always been, in my opinion, the best Ethereum scaling solution, one of the best blockchains of product, like fraud proofs early on. They have like Stylus, which is super cool. They have Ed Felton, which is absolutely a G and like really gets product. A really nice guy. Like I look up to Arbitrum personally in terms of the product.
Yeah, agree with everything you say. I was hoping for some spicy takes, but all right. Now that we're into good chain action, so can you tell us or leak us like approximate when is Mainnet coming, and what can we?
Yeah, it should be end of this month.
End of this month. All right. Anything as a user that has no exposure can do right now to prepare themselves for it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of wait lists for the NFTs that are going live mainly. So Bracket has a whitelist going on for like the Bracket Cats. I think that's a big collection. And then pretty much each on the ecosystem project, Henry has one. Each of the ecosystem projects will launch their own NFT collections. And they'll all start like pre-minting probably like in a week or two. So we anticipate having like a huge like meme coin NFT craze probably in the first few weeks of launch. There's like this one meme coin called like Rats. It's like because I tweeted about like those rats in my bed in New York, and they made a meme coin out of it. And it's like they're actually posting, they're serious about it. So I was pretty concerned about that one.
You're pretty concerned. Okay. All right. Let's say so I've been doing some threads covering all the movement projects and stuff like that.
Yeah,
it's too much. Way too much. Let's say if someone only has 30 minutes.
That's a good sign, isn't it?
If someone says, let's say I only have 30 minutes, 90 minutes, I want to buy, look, or do something or farm something. Like, let's say, like, name 5 or 6 things that they should look at. Can you?
Yeah, I mean, I think like the best indicator is the ones that have like the best kind of community, and like have also raised venture capital. So I think like on the consumer side, I think Bracket is probably the most vibrant. Like very, very, like, it's a prediction market. It's like Tinder meets Poly Market. They have a good NFT collection dropping, and they have a pretty clean UX. From a DeFi side, I think Meridian, Echelon, Canopy. There's a bunch of other ones. Move Position. These guys have like raised capital. Like Arch is a stable coin. So I'll go down each vertical and probably farm one in each vertical. So like on the DEX, Meridian, lending protocols are a few, but Echelon's good. Stablecoin, Arch, like yield aggregator, Canopy. Yeah, and you'll kind of see that over mainnet because like obviously the TVL will grow in certain ones that have the strongest teams, and that's probably the best ones to farm. We'll also have like a likely in Alpha is like a pre-launch liquidity mining program, so you'll see that happen as well.
Will there be a Move NFT?
There will be Move NFTs. It probably won't be an official Move NFT.
Okay.
But there are Move NFTs.
Yeah, Marco, any questions on your side?
No, I mean, like, I guess, dude, like, the most interesting thing that a lot of people have been saying, I guess, about you is that, like, you're everywhere. You're, like, literally at, like, every conference or, like, every panel. Like, what's, like, 1 or 2 tips for, I guess, like, other crypto founders when it comes down to, I guess, like, you know, like, mindshare and, like, how do they get out there? You know, like other than just, I guess, age and tenacity. Like
Yeah.
what do you think is most people missing here?
Well, I think it's like on the Twitter game, it's also really important, right? Because like ultimately, all the speaking stuff happens as a result of like people invite you to panels because like this guy is like a thought leader or like a KOL.
Yapping,
Like
yeah.
you want to be a KOL per se. You want to be a KOL of your own category. So I think like first when you're designing like what product you want to build, you want to build in an area that's not consensus. So for example, when we started building Movement, Move was non-consensus. People thought it was stupid. When Hyperlink was starting off, like people thought perp dexes were saturated. People like GMX had DYDX1, and like there was no point in doing another perp dex.
I feel
We thought
attacked.
when Bear was doing this stuff, like NFT meme chain was like, what the hell is this Bear chain? Um, so like I think doing something non-consensus where you kind of really believe in the mission, there's people around you that believe in it, but the industry doesn't acknowledge it yet. So in that sense, you can be like a category leader and define your own category, have your own brand. So for us, it was like Move was kind of dead and no one was talking about it, and I was the first one to really talk about Move at scale. Like literally every tweet of mine was like Gmove was about like a security analysis of a hack.
Yeah,
There was
that was a good one.
like let's see, it was like about like what makes Move unique. So like people started following me and like retweeting me because they're like, okay, this Move thing is cool, and like this guy is probably the best source of information. I think Lambros does a good job with this for like DeFi stuff, right? If you want to learn about an ecosystem, you'll go to his page, find out like what he's talking about, and hopefully ape. So I think like having your own personal Twitter page that's unique. If you keep the same old thing, like posting like alts or like making bad meme coin calls, it's not going to really get you anywhere. Um, so I think like the best founders that have kind of made it all have their own brand, have proven themselves in the product through a unique angle. And then when it comes to like being everywhere, like that just comes down to like, oh, you need to go to the conference. You need to like when we first started, it was like I was going to like
Mhm.
events that weren't mine and just shaking people's hands saying, hey, I'm Rushi, Billy Movement. The majority of the time, they didn't know what Movement was. And I was like, okay, Move, Ethereum, EVM, mix. And then it clicked. So you keep doing that. You keep meeting the right people. I'd probably do that for like the first 6 to 8 months. I probably didn't have speaking slots anywhere because we were too small. But you just go there and like just meet as many people as possible. And then over time, you start getting invited to things, starting like people want you to talk, people want you to present stuff. And then now it gets to the point where it's like, it's kind of too much, and I try to avoid people.
While we're on this topic, I want to actually ask one more. In fact, I think this is perhaps the most amount of questions that we have kind of also gotten in a sense, but I wanted to hear your take on this. Um, like I think your achievement with Upbit is astounding. I mean, like all of the Korean exchanges, like pretty much, right? It's like one of the maybe like first few ones in recent years of like Western predominantly Western projects became like top three in trading volumes, all of that in the South Korean exchanges. I guess how do you see crypto dynamics between East West when it comes down to like launching a project, going to the markets? I know it's a very broad question, but like as a founder who came from the states
Yep.
yourself, how do you kind of like see that? And yeah, like what has been the lesson so far?
I mean, I think like if you are a Western project and you're not thinking about the East at all, you're not going to make it, right? For example, like even like 6 months ago before testnet, we were a title sponsor for KBW, and that was obviously a lot of resources we put there. But it was us and Sui that like our Movement's logo was everywhere on KBW. And even back then, I recognized like, okay, if Movement wants to be the biggest project, if you look at like the buying pressure, if you look at where the demand is for like even let's look at Ripple, right? XRP. XRP is still top on Korean volumes. It's top on like Binance, OKX. Majority of buyers are coming from Asia. There also is good amount of institutional demand. Obviously, the Coinbase, it's the top three asset in Coinbase. But I think when you look at volumes, it is pretty clear that Asia is still the dominant buyer and dominant audience you're catering towards. It are also ones that's hardest to tap into, right? It's very difficult to get in these regions because there's so many tokens, there's so much noise. So I think one thing I do as Western founders, like you need to have credibility in Western circles, right? You need like the big Western VCs to like, acknowledge they exist and like do thought pieces. But you also need to like have a group in like ecosystem and community that is Asia based, so you can learn the language over there. And I think one of my biggest weaknesses is that I don't speak Chinese. And if I could like go back, have free time and like learn Chinese, I'm serious, I would learn it. Maybe even pick up Korean. I
Same
think
here.
that's the next step in my journey. But I think like I spent time in Korea, spent a lot of time there, like met the right people, and fortunately got the right path forward there. And then in terms of China, like we have a lot of builders there. Like a lot of the Move community is actually Taiwanese. I don't know if people know that, but Sui's actually origin story is Taiwanese. Like Evan is Taiwanese. So there inherently is a big Move Taiwanese culture. And we actually have someone based in Taiwan that does a lot of regional events there. Admittedly is a weak point, like doing Chinese, like Davi yells at me, she's like, we need to do more activation in mainland China, do more activation in like Southeast Asia. And now that's what we're kind of working on. It's like, how do we get like the ajumas and like the grandmas talking about movement. So that's what, like, again, like the point is for any Western projects, I think a lot of the ones that don't do well are the ones that don't think about Asia.
100%. So like, I speak Chinese, and so when I first started in crypto, like late 2019, it was a stage where like Western projects with enough credibility will just automatically come through. And then because there were so limited users, they will just auto get translated. Everything just comes in. But then slowly when the bear market hit, there were a certain group of projects started doing local marketing. Like because there was a stagnum in the point where innovation in tech doesn't change that much stuff anymore. So it became like the marketing strategy that pumped the actual token, right? And yeah, like that was I don't think a lot of teams understood that, to be very honest, like because they got lucky in the Asia market or yeah, but yeah, I good stuff.
But I do think like there is going to be a trend back to Western. Look at Coinbase volumes, like they are increasing. So I think like although the Asia today is I would say the group, I do think there is something to be said that over the next 5-10 years, I do think the trend moves back to Europe and Asia. Now, maybe not fully, maybe it's like 30% instead of what it is today. But like regulation is back in the States if we feel like there's going to be a crypto institutional craze. So a lot of the institutional buying pressure will probably be within the States, like the Grayscales, the BlackRocks.
For sure.
Obviously, when Trump won, that like as much as people thought like the United States was like not that crypto native and like didn't have that much sway before the election, as soon as Trump got elected, we all 2x like instantly everything, right?
Yeah, it's crazy.
And when you look at, for example, a SWI volumes, right? After the Grayscale ETF, like the price action on that was crazy. When you have real institutional buyers, it's more of like a credibility. So even though Coinbase volumes today aren't that high for certain coins, it still is like, wow, you got to listen to Coinbase. Like you will have institutional custody, institutional buying pressure, institutional groups. So I think over the next 5 years, there will be a shift back to the States. Maybe it won't be like retail buying pressure, maybe institutional buying pressure, which triggers more retail. When you know BlackRock's buying, you'll buy.
100%.
Oh man, I can talk for hours about that. Maybe it's a separate podcast, but let's just say to summarize, I definitely agree with you. I think we'll have to see. I think like token issuance and like ref share is gonna maybe a bit tougher, but like all of these like ETFs, ETP, trust, man, it's gonna be a sea of them.
Yeah, I think you also see like right now as American founder, and it's also off topic, but right now you have to like the whole BVI came in to Dubai and find some other entities. I do think in about 2.5 years we'll start seeing TGEs in United States, like actually like foundations established in the United States. It's already you can do it technically right now through Wyoming, but again you don't want to risk it. But I think like Trump has his own token, right? Trump has his own NFTs. So like if the president can do it, we should be able to do it.
Oh shit, that was real. Yeah. Okay, so what do you rank your focus of your chain right now? Let's say AI, DeFi, game, consumer, getting institution buyer.
Yeah. Well, I think like DeFi is the first start of any chain, and also I keep saying everything is DeFi, right? Like you look, any gaming thing is DeFi, any AI thing is DeFi,
100%.
Everything is DeFi, crypto is DeFi.
Yes.
So anyone, I hate when that comes up because literally everything is swapping and swapping trading coins. So when it comes to like DeFi, I think one thing that has always been a focus is that the currency of EVMs is like pretty like EVM L2 DeFi is horrible. Like at anytime, even like Base, I don't really want to use it unless I'm forced to chill a virtuals coin. But like even using Base is painful. The UX is quite difficult. Like Coinbase Wallet makes it a little bit better, but I would say like every other email too is kind of ass. So like having a DeFi user experience that's more like Solana, but having the ETH as asset class, having Ethereum liquidity is the first goal. So just having DeFi that's secure, hopefully it won't get hacked with the power of move, and also has good UX that like alt L1s are used to. And then secondly, I would say like I do think the AI thing is another focus of ours. Like we're entering like this crypto AI boom. Like I'm sure you guys have invested a bunch of crypto AI stuff, but like we're like Axel is a team that I'm putting a lot of energy behind, and they do like AI agents and like verifiable AI agents. So right now, if you're launching AI agents, like let's say like CNZ or like Zero Bro, there's no way to verify there actually is AI behind that. Besides like some, or it could be some dude in his mom's basement. So what they do is they like on-chain verifiable like scripts, like you can prove that this AI agent is in fact on-chain. They're backed by Andreessen and CMT and some few other folks, and they're building on movement. So working with them.
Nice. Okay. Hey, by the way, side question. What do you think about the user experience from comparing Sway to Solana?
I would say the user experience, purely the user experience, is better. I think like the numbers are transaction finalities much quicker. Like if you go on Sui, like any of the dexes and do a swap versus Solana, it is faster. Obviously the issue is like Solana has a lot of stickiness. There's a lot of like all the traders are on Solana basically, but from a pure technological point of view, Sui is better.
Yeah,
And also I would say like, but
sorry.
yeah, it's also like Sui security. Like the whole thesis about the move chains is security, right? So there hasn't been a hack yet on Sui. Knock on wood, right? So like when you have that kind of user confidence that like, hey, like this team, this tech stack prioritizes fund security, you can get a lot more institutional demand, you get a lot more retail demand, and I think like where Move is at is Solana in 2021, where everyone kind of like knows that it's coming. The price action is going crazy. People are really excited from a token point of view. In 2021 Solana, all the ETH folks are like, hey, Solana's a scam. It's not going to last. SBF, blah, blah, blah. No apps there. And then now it's a chain that everyone uses. I think Move is there where everyone's excited about a token, but everyone thinks the chain's dead. But I think this time, next bull cycle, probably like 4 years, let's say, there'll be a big change.
So I've been a big Sway fanboy that I've been trying to get Marco to do more stuff on. But the problem is, I do agree with him. Is like the experience is as good, almost better than Solana, but there's nothing to do other than yield farming. To be very honest, so I think getting alt assets there is it's a very big key. Okay.
I think it's a. Sorry, I just want to add one thing. I think it's a very interesting discussion. It might warrant like another episode. But like, if you really look at Solana, what's super interesting in their growth this cycle is meme coin infrastructure. Basically, like all of these like non-venture backed, meme trading infra that whether you like it or not, of course, there was Jito that kickstart 2023 or early 24, but like the large majority was kickstarted by that, and I think more chains are realizing how important that activity is because like yes, you would have like ecosystem dApps at launch, but the majority of people will bridge your money over to trade something that will make them money, right? So like that in itself is the product, and like I think teams that are like acknowledging that is gonna make it.
Yeah, 100%. Like what the funny thing is, back in the days we thought Solana would bring in like forex trading, the first like order book, quick trading, all this kind of stuff. But turns out its infra is perfect for meme coin trading. Who have I really didn't get that till like.
But I think like the haters of Solana are just like, oh, it's just meme coins, it's nothing. But I think like now you look at the AI coins and these things are legit products. Like they are legit. And ultimately, like this is like early internet, right? Where like early internet was like pornography and like stupid shit, and everyone's like, oh, the internet's a scam. But then like you start seeing like, okay, maturation of like these launches, these products, and now it's getting to a point where AI tokens are real, and there's now so much infrastructure in Solana that if you're, let's say you're in Nigeria and you have like a really cool like AI app, before you have to bow down your knees to like Western VCs and be like, hey, can you please accept me? Now you can fair launch a token and outperform these VC bets. Just because like Solana's infrastructure community is really great. And I think that's actually very, very healthy for crypto.
100%. I agree. Okay. I don't have any more questions other than my final questions. If Marco, do you have anything to add?
Nope, all good to me, man. Looking forward to Mainnet.
Okay. Bro.
Thanks, guys.
No, sorry, one last question. What do you think is required to make it in crypto?
Ooh, make it in crypto? Conviction. I think, like, tokens price, like, Move can dump 90% in 2 months, and I'm going to be down bad, right?
Hey, bro,
Move can
don't
go
say
up
that.
10%.
Don't say that for my back's sake. I still have an open position.
The point is, at some point, like, the markets go up and down. Like, this bear market, bull market, Solana goes to $8. Everyone's like, oh, Solana's a scam. It's gonna happen for movement at some point, whether you like it or not. Hopefully, Lambert's like exits or gets by then. But I think when you look at like a 10-year thing, we're all in space because we're early to a new industry that is going to change how we do finance. Like, everyone outside doesn't really get it. This is exactly how the .com bubble was in like '06, where we're all on the inside. We're like, this is super cool technology. There's actually really cool infrastructure rails that will change the future of humanity. I think this and AI is going to be the defining 2020 to 2030 innovation, and we're literally too early for this. So, like, obviously, there's gonna be people like jaded and like leave the industry and like call it a scam. But then you look at us over like 10 years, and this is quite beautiful and revolutionary. So, from a token point of view, if you just held Bitcoin over the last 10 years, you're probably retired in Cabo right now. I think if you held Sol for the last 4 years, you're probably up a few million. Like, it just comes out of conviction. It's like finding things that you really like and that you understand, and holding the bags, even go up 90%, down 90%.
Nice, thank you.
I love that ending note.
100%. Do you have any questions for us before we say goodbye?
No. What's like? I guess like, what do you guys want to take this podcast? Like, is it like a trading podcast? Are you guys trying to be founders on? Like, what does the More Than Speculation podcast look like this year?
Bro, not gonna lie, it's my way of like so I have conviction in blockchain, but I've lost my conviction towards tokens over the years, and I've lost my conviction towards tokens, and I've lost conviction towards founders throughout the years, and then TN. So I found Pendo at 0.05. And then TN was the first person that I witnessed, which the token dumped, pumped, and then pumped again. So like, it was the first time that I experienced so close up to see the right resilient founder of what right way of doing things, right? So when Marco was like chatting with me, I was like, okay, I want to use this. Platform to talk to founders more in a different perspective, to get to like a friend's conversation in public as well, so to get more experience for everyone, kind of thing, and hopefully you will leak some early alpha for us.
Of course, I will always.
I mean, I would say it's kind of similar for me. Like, I started interviewing investors back then, but after a while, it's kind of tiring hearing people yapping about the same thing. So I was like, let's try doing something with founders instead. And I feel like sometimes I have a lot to say and I'm not the best at tweeting. So trying to do something new.
Yep. That's good.
All right, man. Thank you.
All right, man. Thanks for your time again. So everybody can look at the show notes, Mainnet at the end of the month, fingers crossed. And until next time, man.
Cool. Thanks guys for the time. Appreciate it.
Cheers.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye-bye.